out the song we sing and feels the way we die. You can make the mountains ring or make the angels cry. Though the birds on their wing, you may not know why. Come on, people now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together, put a love on another right now. Some may come and some may go. We will surely pass.
If you just stand up, check it a
The
little
one
bit.
that left us here returns for us at last. We got a moment's sunlight bathing in the grass. Come on, people now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now. Come on, people now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now. Come on, people now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now. Come on, people now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It's a beautiful day.
The microphone is not on, but it's okay. You speak so well.
I am so
You can speak
loud.
in front of people in a courtroom. Yes.
Oh yes, I don't even know where the button is, so I'm just going to project. Is that okay? Can everyone hear me? Great. All right. Well, we are so pleased to welcome everybody here today, including all of our friends on Facebook Live and all of the beautiful smiling faces here. I was thinking this morning we're hearing about the fruits of the Spirit, and I was thinking about the concept of fruit being fruity. None of us fit that, I'm sure. But I was thinking about how we all grow and develop at our own pace and how we learn the information that we are hearing in this series. And then I opened the book of In the Flow of Life by Eric Butterworth, which I love him because even in the introduction, I'm highlighting things. And he talked about this book is not for information, it's for outformation. And that reminded me of why I love Unity. The day I came the first time, when I was told to take what worked for me and leave the rest, and I was given the freedom to think for myself. And the outformation that Eric Butterworth was talking about is the idea that I'm not here to instruct you. I'm here to remind you of what you already know, and for you to resonate with that truth that is already in you, and the information comes out of you. It's like a reminder, and that's what this series has been for me. So I'm excited to see what I already know about faith that is going to come out of Jesse's mouth today. So thank you. There are tons of events that we have going on. We don't always announce every single thing because I know nobody wants to hear me give 10 minutes of announcements, but there are things on the website, there are things on the table. One thing that is new, and Reverend Jesse will tell us more at the end of the service, is a class on the Eightfold Path. It's a 4-week series on Buddhism and mindfulness. That is a Zoom class that you can take on Tuesdays, beginning this Tuesday at 6 p.m. You can get the Zoom link through emailing Jesse, and he'll tell you more about the process for that. But we'd love to see you. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to seeing many of you there. All right, we would also like more people to participate in providing the service. If you're interested in being a platform assistant like I am being today, or leading meditation, see one of the board members, myself, Jamie, Peggy is here. or you can even speak to Arturo and let us know what you'd like to do if you'd like to participate. All right, now we'd like for us to all take a moment and get ready for our meditation with Carol Clarke. Show me where it is. Now.
One, two, three, four.
Yes. Thank you, Arturo and Gina. So, to prepare for our time of meditation, I invite you to sit with your spine erect and your feet flat on the floor. You may choose to have your palms up or down on your laps. And we're going to start with a chant. It's it's a unity classic. It's in the hymnal. It's called The Father and I Are One. And Arturo is going to help us with the melody. The Father and I are one. The Father and I. It's a little high for me. God is I am. God is I am. The Father and I are one. Let's try that one more time. Father and I are one. The Father and I are one. God is I am. God is I am. The Father and I are one. Yes. So I invite you to gently close your eyes and open your hearts and maybe turn on just a gentle smile. We're going to take 3 centering breaths together. Breathing in, I am. Breathing out, one with everything. Again, breathing in, I am. Breathing out, at peace. And finally, breathing in, I know. Breathing out, that all is well. Now breathing normally, we relax and let go. We release and surrender. Relaxing into the stillness. Relaxing into our highest vibration of pure beingness. My favorite mystic, Jesus, taught us to be still and know the truth that sets us free. Be still and know that I am God. We give thanks for the spiritual faculty of faith, our spiritual eyes to see the invisible, to judge not by appearances. We accept that in this world, this classroom, we will have tribulation, situations that feel unbearable at times in that moment, that cause fear, pain, grief. But just as our way shower Jesus taught that despite the tribulations, we can be of good cheer because he has overcome the world. This world is perfectly the kingdom of heaven, the realm of perfection and genius is always at hand, through us, within us, because we are made in the image and likeness of God. We know that life is for us, never against us. We live in a friendly universe. Abundant life is our birthright. And life is eternal. Let us sit with these truths for a few moments in the silence. As Eric Butterworth through Gina reminded us, through faith, we can flow with life, whatever it brings, and count it all joy. We trust life, and we trust God, and so it is. Namaste, y'all.
Team, you can come back now. We're going to do an interesting song. It's a song about faith. We modified the lyrics a little bit. This is George Michael. So it's for all of you who have faith, mind, and a soul. And feel welcome to join us when we come to the chorus.
Well, I guess it would be nice if I could leave this body. No, not that everybody has got a body like you, but I've got to think twice before I give my heart away. I know all the games you play, 'cause I play them too, but I need some time off from that emotion. Time to pick my heart up off the floor. When that love comes down without devotion, well, it takes a strong man, baby, but I'm showing you the door. 'Cause I gotta have faith. I gotta have faith. 'Cause I gotta have faith, the faith, the faith. I gotta have faith. I gotta have faith. I gotta have faith. I gotta have faith, the faith, faith. I gotta have faith, faith.
thank you so much, honestly, for just being in the house. I don't think preachers and teachers say that enough. Spiritual practice is a volunteer service that we do for the betterment of our own souls, and coming together every morning to worship together from all sides of the city, from various cities. It's a marvelous thing. Turn to your neighbor and say, I prayed for you. Believe it or not, you did. You were praying and asking life for something that drew all of these beautiful faces together here. All of the many face of God. Joseph Campbell says that there is a hero with 1,000 faces. It's a monomyth, the singular source of power in creation manifesting itself as the many. So it's not just the one, but it's also the many. And you that are watching online, good morning to you as well. You are also a part of our online community. Let's put your hands together for our online community. For those that are watching live right now, we want you to be a part of this service. And with that being said, I want to talk this morning about faith, but I want to do a sidebar and just acknowledge all the new people that are in the house today. We have a few new faces and faces that are new to me. I want to give you a round of applause and thank you for coming. I don't want to put you on the spot, but I do want to acknowledge the fact that you are here. Let's put our hands together for the visitors that are in the house. And for the new visitors that are watching online this morning, I want to thank you guys as a church for your hard work. To the Spiritual Life team, I am so proud of you and I am proud to work with you. To our prayer chaplains who are standing by, our prayer chaplains are here this morning. If you are in need of prayer for someone to hold a high watch for you, we do have our prayer chaplain here standing by for that. I want to acknowledge also our outreach team. I had a chance to meet with them for almost an hour and a half this week. I want to shout out Brother Aline and Miss Patty. Let's give them a round of applause as well. Our small groups are coming together and they're doing some amazing stuff. For updates on outreach programs that they are working on, please see Miss Patty and Brother Aline after church. I want to acknowledge also we have Brother Reese in the house, our Qigong master. Let's give Brother Reese a round of applause as well. Because I believe it's important to acknowledge the gifts that are in the house. You guys are some gifted individuals, and I want to let you know that in spiritual community, all of us have a chance to operate because we are all in this together. Ram Dass, one of my spiritual teachers from afar, used to say that we are all walking each other home. We're walking each other home. And so all of the gifts that you guys share and have, I acknowledge them to the meditation on today by Miss Carol. That was a beautiful meditation. Because we need you. And believe it or not, Jesus would send his disciples out 2 by 2 for a reason. We all have larger ministries, those of us that are spiritual directors, but ministries operate based on people. And the ministry itself isn't just someone grabbing a microphone or someone playing music, although we love our music and our microphones and teaching, but the small groups is what really makes the impact. Jesus told the disciples to go out ye into all the world and preach the gospel. What's the gospel? It's the good news. What's the good news? It's the news that you're already free. See, this is the beautiful thing about life, that life will allow us to experience all kinds of things, and life just sits there and waits until we're ready to accept that newfound freedom. And our task is to remind the world a truth that they've forgotten, which is that they are already free. So regardless of what you're going through today, if you're watching this online, I want to let you know that you are already free, that the cost has already been paid. So all you have to do is accept that newfound freedom and walk in the truth of your divine self. Can we say yes to that on today?
Yes.
Because that's where we are right now. So on this morning, everybody say faith.
Faith.
Faith is a very, very easy subject to talk about because it's one that we all deal with. For me, faith is full catastrophe living. You ever heard that phrase? John Kabat-Zinn. Don't say that in the church. My life isn't a catastrophe. I didn't say your life was. But it doesn't mean that life does not take us on a ride. Anybody ever been on a ride with life? Yeah. Or maybe I should say our interpretations of our experiences of the life that we are living take us for a ride. The ride of interpreting everything that's going on outside of us and the rush of emotions that you feel when you're in fight or flight mode, or when you are in survival mode, or when you are pressured. There's an old saying that pressure bursts pipes. Ooh, anybody ever been under pressure? That famous song by Queen, Under Pressure, that pressure coming down on you, it's like, oh my God. Chronic dysregulation. You ever been under pressure so bad that your body shakes? That tough conversation, I don't know if I can handle this right now, I gotta go. Or that tough moment and it's just like, I'm going to crack. Here's the beautiful thing about cracking. You can actually go to pieces without falling apart. Mark Epstein. Wonderful book. Because when you allow yourself to go to pieces, those pieces of yourself become seeds of possibility for a new moment. Everybody say faith.
Faith.
Faith is not a blanket statement. It's not a blanket thing. Faith is a divine idea, according to Charles Fillmore and all of the other teachers that came behind him. In fact, Fillmore actually said that with faith, we actually grab it with intelligence first, and then the body metabolizes it, which is a wonderful, wonderful statement. To put some flesh on that, faith for me is a container. We say that faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So for me, faith is the container by which I put the things that I hope for in. But sometimes my container isn't big enough to handle the vision that I have for myself. Let me say that one more time. Sometimes the faith that I'm experiencing or the container that I have right now isn't big enough to handle my hopes and dreams. So here's the wonderful thing about spirit, that there is no size in spirit. There's no dimension in spirit. All you need is faith in general, whether your faith is big or large or small. According to Fillmore, you just need it. So ask yourself, do you got it? Do you have faith? Everybody got faith here? Have you ever been under pressure to where you felt like your faith was just obsolete, like it was not there? I want to kind of take you back to that experience. And do you remember being at what they call the dark night of the soul? And do you remember what it was like when that light of hope shone through and something came and reached out and grabbed you and pulled you up? See, that's the cycle of life that we go through. Ups and downs, ins and outs. But mature faith is the recognition that this all works together for my good. If I can see it that way. It all works together for my good if I can see it that way. So the stuff from what you're telling me that I'm experiencing in my life right now, if I were to see it as working together for my good, then it can? The answer is yes, it can. See, you are in the driver's seat of your life, even though there are times you feel like the passenger. Let me keep going until I make sure I'm in the house. You are in the driver's seat of your life, even though sometimes you feel like the passenger, like life is just pulling you around. But when you wake up and realize that possibility exists, when you wake up and realize your potential, when you wake up and realize that even though I might be feeling things in my body, that there is a major difference between healing and cure. See, there you go, I think I'm in the house now. When I examine the stories about myself, or when I examine the stories that are going on in my head, because here's the greatest challenges to your faith and mine. It's not so much what we are experiencing, it's the stories that we're telling ourselves about the things we are experiencing. That's the problem. Amen. So if you're experiencing pain in your body, anybody ever had pain in their body? It's like, oh my God, and the doctor says this and the doctor says that. This is how we reconcile our metaphysics. We reconcile our metaphysics by examining that story and examining that statement. The doctor says I've been diagnosed with A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, but there is something inside of me that still feels free even though I'm experiencing this in my body. So I look through the pain. I look through the cancer. I look through the uncomfortability, and I see cancer as a path to God. I ride the wave of my circumstance to freedom and liberation. See, that's the hard part. Blame is a natural tendency that we all have. I do it all the time. Because when we experience discomfort, the body wants to discharge. The body wants to get what it feels out of its system. And so we blame. We say, oh, it's always somebody else's fault. Who did it? Starts with a T. They did it, yes. There's an old story that Pentecostal folks used to tell. Say God went to church one day. Let that sink in. God went to church one day, and before God got in the church, the devil was sitting on the steps, and the devil was crying. It's like, devil, what's the matter? Why you crying? They blame everything on me, man, and I ain't do nothing. Everybody say faith.
Faith.
So faith is the container that we place our hopes and our dreams in. The Bible says that without a vision, people perish. And I challenge every one of you today, under the sound of my voice, if you're listening to this, folks that are watching online, to go back, if you haven't had a chance to, and re-examine your inner vision for your life, right? There's a wonderful passage in the Old Testament, and it says that I know the thoughts that I have for you, and those thoughts are good. And this was one of the prophets listening to the voice of God speak from within about his inner vision for himself. Because here's the wonderful thing about faith. It's a process or a principle that the just live by, right? It's a principle that the justice, righteous, Zadik, the called out ones. So it's another level of spiritual practice. Faith is one of the hardest principles to wrestle with because there's sometimes we don't feel it. Here's the wonderful thing about spirit, though. Just because you don't feel it doesn't mean it's not
There.
right. So what do? We remind ourselves over and over again. In fact, that's what the word religion means. The word religion means to tie back. It means to bind. So you're tying yourself to a cause. The cause that I'm tying myself to is my inner vision for myself, which says to me that everything is going to be
All right.
okay, all right. I'm going through all this stuff. I have all this uncomfortability in my life. This is happening. That's happening. It's a healing crisis. It does not mean that I'm not seeing this and experiencing this stuff and I'm acknowledging that it's there. I'm not saying that. Stuff happens all the time. I'm distinguishing fact from truth. The fact of the matter is, I'm uncomfortable. I'm experiencing chronic dysregulation in my body. I'm experiencing all kinds of chaos going on in my home. I'm experiencing things happen on the job. But the truth teachings tell me that that is a fact. That is not the truth. The truth is, I am a divine being that's strong enough and powerful enough to stand and be planted inside of the truth, like a tree planted by the rivers of Jordan, knowing that this too shall pass. There is something inside of me. Let me say it like this. Greater is he that is within me than he that is within the world. There is a power in your subconscious mind, according to Joseph Campbell, that compels you to do when something else tells you to stop. There is a vision in your belly for the life that you know you're supposed to be living, even when the life outside of you says, nah, so. There are two wolves inside of every person. Which one are you going to feed? And see, that's what faith does. Faith meets you right there. Faith meets you right there. So when I go back and I look at my container, here's the wonderful thing about my personal practice. My faith is different from yours because I can only do what's in me that day. So instead of looking at the entirety of my life, I look at moment to moment. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Now faith. Faith right now. Everybody say now faith.
Now faith.
The faith that I have in the present. Not the faith that I wish I would have. Not the faith that I imagine that I need to have based on who's watching me. Not the faith that I imagine that I should have based on the truth teachings, but what I actually have going on in my body right now. I got about this much faith going on right now. Repeat after me. That's all you need.
That's all you need.
See, Spirit can work with you when you're honest with yourself. When you show up and you just say, for God I live, for God this is where I am. That's where Spirit meets you. The reason why some of us aren't experiencing Spirit because we're not honest about where we are. God is where I am. This is where you are right here, but in your mind, you're telling yourself you're here. If you get honest about where you are, then life can meet you there, and then your transformation can come.
Amen.
When I'm down, there's a wonderful passage, I believe it's in the book of Psalms. If I make my bed in hell, thou art there. If I ascend to the highest heavens, thou art there. Wherever you go, there you are. There is a power within you that we call divine. The Holy Spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh, whatever name you use, it is with you. Jesus said that I leave and go away to prepare a place for you, that where I am you may be also. And he also said that when the Spirit of truth shall come, or in the last days I will pour out my Spirit unto all flesh. There's so many references about this anointing, this power, this divine reality, this divine intelligence that's being given to you. What we have to learn to do is remind ourselves that it's already there, even when we feel it's not present. So now faith, the faith that I have right now, what I'm experiencing in the moment, the container by which I place my hopes and dreams, that container gets pressured. That container gets pushed. But the power and the divine seed and the divine intelligence that's inside, that's okay. And that's all you need. Because when this thing changes, there is something waiting for you on the other side of this stuff that you're experiencing. I don't know who I'm talking to today. Whatever's going on in your life, let me just publicly say this. If you're watching this right now on camera, because I'm feeling you, whatever you are experiencing, it's going to be okay. If you're experiencing sicknesses in your body right now, distinguishing between healing and cure will save your life. You know why? Because when you're experiencing all this stuff in your body, you can look up to life and you can look at your neighbor and you can look at your sister and your brother and your friend and say that by his stripes I'm healed. But I don't understand. You got all this stuff going on in your body, but my soul is free. When I was about 7, 8 years old, my Uncle Michael, one of my favorite uncles, one of my guides, taught me all kinds of things. He passed. And as he was passing, I saw him wither away to about 85, 95 pounds. And when my aunt came to ask him one day, how was he doing? He said, I'm free. And she just kind of looked at him. See, man looks on the outside, but God looks at the heart. Whom the Son set free is free indeed. When you get free right here, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. And every tongue that rises up in judgment, God shall condemn. Nobody can touch you. Nobody can touch you. They said this, that hurt my feelings. Nobody can touch you. Why? There's this faith, this power, this divine intelligence in my heart. Sometimes it feels magnanimous and I can walk in and I feel on top of the world. Other times it feels small, but guess what? The flame may never, it may shrink, but the flame never dies. It shrinks because of what we're experiencing. And here's the wonderful thing about life. The flame isn't always piping hot. Because we decided to take a lesson called Earth School and Humanity. So the flame shrinks, but there's still fire in the kitchen. You know what I'm saying? This is what faith is. It's a mature way of being. It's a mature way of manifesting God, or manifesting strength, or manifesting divine possibility, or manifesting hope, or manifesting who you know you are. And when you get to the point in your life where you realize that stuff just happens, you stop taking everything personally. Now that's the work. That's the work. You don't always feel it. Let me tell you, I can tell you with the best of them, I don't always feel it. But I know there's a knowingness deep down on the inside. There's a blessed assurance in my heart. There's a divine reality according to Fillmore. There's a divine intelligence that's right here that lets me know, okay, I know this is what you're feeling. I know your nervous system is racked, but you got about 10 seconds to get it together. So go ahead and be as emotional as you want. Get it all out, because at the end of the day, there is a reality that's greater than my interpretation of the reality that I'm experiencing outside. The vision for myself and for my life in here is greater. And this is why it takes so long, because we are manifesting heaven on earth. See, we're taking concepts and metaphysical truths and feeling. Reverend Ike used to say, get full of the feeling. That's why our manifestations would take too long. We're watching for fulfillment. Reverend Ike said we should get fulfillment. Because feeling, according to Neville Goddard, is what makes it so. See, you can tell me you're short, but I feel tall. And it don't matter what you tell me in my mind, I feel tall. Because when I stand on my wallet, let me stop. I'm still 5'4". So we get full of the feeling. This is why they call faith blessed assurance. Everybody say blessed assurance.
Blessed assurance.
That old song, blessed assurance, Jesus is mine. What's the other part? Oh, what a foretaste of glory divine. So when stuff is happening out here, I can, taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the man that trusteth in him. Wonderful mantra. You know why? When stuff is going on out here, I can close my eyes. It's cold outside, but there's a blessed assurance in here. And that blessed assurance is an insurance policy that lets me know that everything is going to be okay. Thich Nhat Hanh used to say, thoughts are just like clouds in the sky. If you watch them, they'll float right on by. Thoughts are just like clouds in the sky. If you watch them, they'll float right on by. So circumstances, events, let me say this. I said this last week. People, human beings, there's some things that are just human nature. Why are they so mean and cantankerous? They're human. I don't know. Why are they so sarcastic? I don't know. They're human. Why are they so quiet? I don't know. They're human. So if I understand that in the context of the human experience, that these are just personality traits, I don't have to even take that personal. So that can't check. That can't bother me. Situations, circumstances in life. Let's look at jobs. Things happen on the job. Well, there's 1,000 jobs out there. I'm sure with my career, with my background, with my training, I can find someplace else to go. Oh, I don't like this house. There are plenty of other houses I can move. If we really examine all of the stories that we tell ourselves, there's always a way out. Tell your neighbor, there's always a way out. So what are you talking about, preacher? I'm talking about a faith that sees beyond the apparent. A faith that recognizes that my conscious mind interprets the events of my life and makes me feel sometimes like I'm going to die. But here's the wonderful thing about blessed assurance. When you know deep down on the inside that you're not going to die here, it doesn't matter what happens out there. You're able to walk through fire and not get burned. Bible students, y'all remember Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? I know they're in there, Nebuchadnezzar representing the ego, right? This interpretive quality of, oh my God, something's going to happen. And see, the ego interprets life like this because the ego's job, according to Freud, is to protect you. It's a protector. So this is why your fight-flight reflex kicks in, and this is why you get into survival mode when things act up. But Nebuchadnezzar said, I put them in this place. I gave them that story, but there's a fourth man in the fire that I didn't put there. There is something that there is to be you. They call it post-traumatic growth. Post-traumatic growth is the other side of post-traumatic stress. Post-traumatic growth. So regardless of what I know about you, God still uses you anyway. But they're messy. God still uses them anyway. They don't deserve to be there. None of us do. You know why? They call it grace. Grace. But by the grace of God, but by the divine, St. Augustine, the wonderful mystic, said that everything is grace. Everything is grace. A leading student of Charles Fillmore, Reverend Ed, can't remember his last name, he said that everything is grace. Everything is grace. And so when we interpret correctly, when we see our lives the way God sees it, that's what we got to do. So what I'm doing today is calling you up to a higher level. I am challenging you and charging you to see your life the way God sees it. See your life the way the divine sees it. See your life from the highest vantage point. Eric Butterworth, don't pray to God, pray from God. What does God do? God doesn't pray to anyone. God asks themselves. Let me say that one more time. God doesn't pray to anyone. God asks themselves.
Awesome. Yeah.
But I want this. Ask yourself. See, that's a higher level of living, and guess what? That's responsibility, because now I don't have to wait for it. I just decide when I can have it.
Yeah.
I think I'm in the house now. I decide, when you take responsibility for your life, you decide. You look at the pros, you look at the cons. What are you saying? I'm asking you to co-create with God. Participate in creation. Participate in the life that you want to live. Don't be a passive experiencer of life. That's why it hurts. That's why it seems so bad, because you're in the back seat. You're on the passenger side. You know, one thing I can't stand is a passenger side driver. Oh my God. Because everything looks scary from that side. But if you're in the driver's seat, you're in control. You know where you're going. You can self-correct. You move too close, because some of you like to drive to close to this side. So I like a middle driver. You just stay in the middle. But some folks, they drive to the left, too close. You're going to run me off the road. And you drive too far to the right. But you're in control either way. You got this. This thing called life, you got this. And when you don't, we come to communities, we come to houses of faith, where we can hold the high watch for each other, where prayer chaplains that are standing by can look you in the face and say, I see the goodness of God in your life, even when you don't see it. And so what I'm going to do is hold the truth of that experience until you are able to snatch it from me and see what I see about you. See, that's what faith is. According to Charles Fillmore, faith isn't just a thing, it's a living reality. And so when you step into that, you don't passively live, but you live fully, right? Take a deep breath. Let this information metabolize in your system. Close your eyes and see the life that you have imagined that you would be living. And know that this too shall pass. Thank you for listening. Namaste.
I am so full, I don't need lunch. Thank you, Reverend Jesse. If that was a taste of what you'd like to have more of, this is not our first thing on Sunday mornings. There's a trust circle that meets upstairs in the purple room at 9:30. There are folks here like Jamie that can tell you more about that, but we'd love to see you there as well. Also, I want to thank our musicians. We have William and Rick and Arturo, and we appreciate all of their gifts today as well. So now is our time to collectively be able to show our gratitude for all the blessings we've received today. So if you'll take your offering in your hand and say with me our offertory prayer. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, all that I receive. I give in love and I trust God, and so it is. And there are bowls at the back where you can leave your offering. And let's all join together. If you'll stand.
Give online.
Oh, and give online. You can give online as well. Thank you.
Yes.
Gentle reminders. So let's stand and sing the peace song. presence of God watches over us.
I am the presence of God.
Wherever I am, God is.
Wherever we are, God is.
And all is well.
Announce it so people can sign it.
Just a quick announcement. The church gave Reverend Jesse one of Dory's portraits, and there is a mat out there. Everyone can
But I'm gonna tell her that next time to leave it home for like a little.
Yes. But thankfully that wasn't live.
Well, how does it feel to sing after your laryngitis of week?
Not great. Not great at all. I mean, last night I was sitting here, by the time we did last night, it was like chalk. You know, so I was like, I was just having problems with my high notes and like causing pain and stuff. And I'm like, you know, there's something in here that's bugging me. And I need to find it because this room is bothering me.
Thank y'all. That was wonderful.
Thank you.
Jimmy,
Yes,
maybe next time after we're